Hello, in this video we're going to be looking at improper fractions and mixed numbers. So plan is that we are going to be able to convert between these things, between improper fractions and mixed numbers. So first of all, what on earth am I talking about? So an improper fraction is any fraction where the numerator is bigger than the denominator. So if you remember, the numerator is the number that is on top of the fraction, and the denominator is the number that's on the bottom of the fraction. And normally, the numerator would be smaller than the denominator, like in the fraction like 3/4. But in an improper fraction, this number on the top, the numerator, is bigger. So in these two examples, this one is an improper fraction, and this one is not an improper fraction. Okay? This one, the numerator is bigger. This one, the numerator is smaller. So this one is improper, and this one isn't. How about the other one then? Mixed numbers. So a mixed number has an integer part and a fraction part. So let's just quickly go back and look at this word integer. Now, integer is one of those sort of posh, fancy maths words, which actually has a quite nice, simple definition. It just means a whole number. A whole number. So, for instance, 7 or 3 or -8, those are integers, but a half or 8.6, those aren't integers. So, if my mixed number has an integer part, so my integer part could be like 3, for instance, and a fraction part. My fraction might be 2/5. So this would be the number 3 2/5, and that's called a mixed number. So other examples of mixed numbers, we could have 1 1/2. That would be a mixed number, or 2 3/4. That would be another one, or 7 7/10. That would be another mixed number. These are all mixed numbers. So they've got a whole part, an integer part, and a fraction part. 3 2/5, 2 3/4, etc. And what we're going to be able to do is change between them, because these two things sort of represent the same type of thing. And I'll show you how just now. So this one here, we've got 4/3, and it's asking us to convert it into a mixed number. So what's this thing first of all? Well, the numerator is bigger than the denominator, so this must be an improper fraction. So we've got an improper fraction, and we want to change it into a mixed number. And remember, we said that a mixed number is one of these guys, where we've got an integer part and a fraction part, a whole number and a fraction. So let's think about what 4/3 looks like. I want you to imagine I've got some pizza, and I've got this pizza here. Because we've got a 3 on the bottom, I'm going to cut my pizza up into 3 pieces. 1, 2, 3. So that's 3/3, isn't it? 1, 2, 3 of them. But I need to have 4/3, so I'm going to have an extra third. So as well as my whole pizza, I've got this extra bit of pizza over here. And so what have I got? I've got 1, 2, 3, 4/3, which is what it says here. But that's the same as one whole pizza. One whole pizza. And what else have I got? Well, I've got this extra piece over here, and that is 1/3. So I've got one whole pizza and a third of a pizza, so I've got 1 1/3 pizzas. So 4/3 as a mixed number, I can write it out just down here. 4/3 is equal to 1 1/3. And what I've done is I've changed the improper fraction into a mixed number. Right, let's look at another example. This one here, I've got 8/5. So again, this is an improper fraction, right? Because the numerator is bigger than the denominator. I'm going to start off doing this without drawing the pictures, and then I'll draw the picture afterwards to show you how we get to our answer. So if I've got 8/5, how many wholes can I make? Well, I know that I'd need 5/5 to make a whole, right? So do I have enough to make one whole? Well, yeah, I do. I've got more than enough to make one whole. Do I have enough to make 2 wholes? No, because I'd need 10/5 to make 2 wholes, wouldn't I? So I've got enough for one whole. And what have I got left over? So 5/5 make up one whole. So I've got 3/5 left over. 1 3/5. And if you didn't totally follow what I was saying there, I'll do it one more time with pictures. So I've got 8/5. Now that is enough to make one whole pizza, because one whole pizza is going to look like that. There are my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces. I'm cutting it into fifths, but I want 8/5. And how many have I got here? Well, I've only got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I need 3 more fifths, don't I? So 3 more fifths is going to look like this. There we go. So what have I got when I write it as a mixed number? I've got 1 whole and I've got 3 fifths, and that is the same as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 fifths. So to write out my answer to this question, 8 fifths, if I've got 8 fifths, then I've got enough to make 1 whole, and I will have 3 left over. 3 fifths. The number on the bottom, the denominator, will always be the same here as it was up here. Let's look at another. 9 quarters into a mixed number. So here's my improper fraction. Do I have enough to make 1 whole pizza if I have 9 quarters? Yes, I do. Do I have enough to make 2 pizzas? Yes, I do, because 8 quarters would make 2 pizzas, wouldn't it? So I actually have enough to make 2 pizzas. And how many would I have left over? I'd have 1 left over, 2 and 1 quarter. Again, if you didn't totally follow what I was doing there, let's draw a picture to show it. So here's my first pizza. I'm cutting it into quarters. That's 1, 2, 3, 4 quarters. Okay, going to need another pizza then. 5, 6, 7, 8 quarters. I need 9 quarters, so that's another piece I'm going to have to add on here. There we go. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 quarters. That was that bit I started with. And how many whole pizzas is that? Well, that's enough to make 2 whole pizzas with 1 quarter left over. So my answer is that 9 quarters is equal to 2 wholes with an extra quarter left over. Final example we'll do of these, and then we'll have a look at going the other way. This time I've got 11 sevenths. 11 sevenths. So I'm going to do this one without the pictures because sevenths are difficult to draw. So we're just going to have to think about how many sevenths will I need to make up a whole pizza. Well, obviously the answer is going to be 7. And so how many will I have left over? Because I've got enough to make 1 whole pizza. Well, if I need to have 11 sevenths, that is 4 left over, isn't it? Because out of my 7 sevenths that make up this whole, 4 more will make 11. So I've got 1 and 4 sevenths. Oh God, maybe I'll have a go at drawing that picture then. Let's see if I can draw 11 sevenths. So I'm cutting my pizza into sevenths. Is this going well? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes, I think so. So that's 7 sevenths. I need to have 11 sevenths though. So 11 sevenths is going to look like this. Let's check that I've done that right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That's 11 sevenths that I've drawn there. How many pizzas have I got? I've got 1 whole pizza and 4 sevenths. 1 and 4 sevenths. So again, my answer is that 11 sevenths equals 1 and 4 sevenths. This is my improper fraction. This is my mixed number. Okay, we're going to try going the other way this time. I've got 1.5. 1.5 is a nice one to visualize, isn't it? Let's think about what 1.5 looks like. That's 1 whole and a half. I've got 1 pizza and half a pizza. I want to change that into an improper fraction though. So I want to know how many halves have I got here. Well, I've got 1 half over here, and this is a whole pizza though. So how many halves is that? Well, it's 2 halves, isn't it? 1, 2, 3 halves. So the answer must be that I've got 3 halves. So to write out my answer properly, 1.5 is a mixed number. I'm changing that into an improper fraction. As an improper fraction, it is the same as 3 halves, because I've got 1.5, and that is 1, 2, 3 halves. Okay, another. Convert 1 3/4 into an improper fraction. So maybe let's see if we can start this one without a picture. So I've got 1 whole pizza, and then I've got an extra 3/4. So imagine how many quarters are making up this whole. Well, it's 4 quarters, isn't it? 4 quarters make up a whole, and I've got an extra 3. So how many quarters must I have? I must have 7 quarters, I think my answer should be. Let's draw the picture and see if we agree. So here's my 1 whole pizza. That's 1 whole pizza we've got here. I also need 3/4. So let's draw the 3/4 of a pizza next to it as well. There's my 3/4. So I want to know how many quarters in total should I have. It's always going to be quarters because I've got a 4 on the bottom here. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. That makes the whole pizza. and an extra 1, 2, 3. That's a total of 7, isn't it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 quarters. So the answer that I would write is that 1 3/4 is equal to 7 quarters. Next one then. 2 1/6. We want to convert 2 1/6 into an improper fraction. So I've got 2 whole pizzas and an extra sixth. I want to know how many sixths we've got here. Well, to make these 2 whole pizzas, I'm going to need 6 in each, aren't I? So the first whole pizza will have 6 parts in it. The second whole pizza will have 6 parts in it. And then I've got this extra 1 part left over. So how many sixths make up this 2? It'll be 12 of them, right? Oh, I've changed colours. We can cope with that probably. 12 of those will make up the 2 whole pieces. And then I've got an extra 1, because there's this extra 1 here, over 6. So where did the 12 come from? It was the 2 times the 6 plus the 1. So my answer is 13 sixths. And again, if you're not totally sure with where those numbers come from, let's draw a picture. 2 1/6. So that's 1 pizza, 2 pizzas, and a sixth of a pizza. How many sixths have I got in total? There's 6 there. There's another 6 there. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I've got 13 sixths. That was 6 and another 6 and this 1 left over. Final one we'll look at then. I've got 2 3/8. Let's try it like the one we did before. So 8 eighths will make 1 whole. I've got 2 wholes, so I'm going to have to do 2 times 8, which is 16. And then I've got to add on the extra 3 that I've got, and all of that goes over 8. So 2 times the 8, add on the 3. 16 plus 3 is 19. So we should have that my answer is 19 eighths. Let's just to double check that, let's draw a wee picture. So I should have 2 whole pizzas and 3/8. 3/8 is going to look a bit like that. Let's cut those all up into eighths. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pieces there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pieces there. And an extra 3 over here. So I've got 2 wholes and 3/8. So how many eighths have I got? Let's count them up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. That's where that 16 came from. 17, 18, 19. I've got 19 eighths. Great.